This is an aerial view of the Sani Pass, connecting South Africa with the Kingdom of Lesotho. The gravel road that winds up the pass rises a total of 1,332 meters with frequent switchbacks, and the incline is really severe at times. There's a noticeable lack of guardrails to keep cars from going over the ever-present cliffs. The road is so dangerous that the South African government conducts fitness checks for vehicles before allowing them to go up the pass. Even so, many drivers have a difficult time. Poor weather conditions and high winds can make it difficult to stay on the road. Wrecked vehicles that have failed can be seen littering the valley floor. Sounds fun, right? Well, why talk about dangerous roads in a speech about standards? Life is like the Sani Pass. It's a tough mountain road. It takes a lot of effort to climb, and the road is bordered by dangerous cliffs. Poor driving can send you over the edge. Standards are like the guardrails that keep you from going over the cliffs. Now, not everyone is a good driver. This is my son, Jerem. Actually, this is a picture of Jerem in his Halloween costume because he's 15 and didn't want me showing his face in a worldwide broadcast. Did I mention he's 15? That means that he'll be driving soon, and the thought scares me more than a little. As the parent of a soon-to-be driver, I have a lot of advice. Put both hands on the wheel, keep your eyes on the road, use your mirrors and turn signals, obey the speed limit, and please put your cell phone away while you're driving. Now, it's likely that he won't do all of these things all of the time, but if I can get him to do them most of the time, then I greatly improve the chances that he'll navigate the road safely. My advice could be considered a set of standards for safe driving. No driver's ed teacher worth his salt is going to send young people out on the road without first instilling in them the importance of these standards. It would be unthinkable. Well, what about the road of life? What standards are we teaching our children to help them safely be guarded on that road? When the winds of unpopular trends and opinions send them careening towards the cliffs, do we dare let them drive without sufficient safeguards? Industry knows the dangers of driving without standards. Failure to follow strict standards when creating a product can send a company over a variety of cliffs. A drop in product quality can give a leg up to the competition. A hazard may cause an injury, resulting in massive recalls and a loss of trust. To minimize these possibilities, quality assurance managers conduct risk assessments. They identify key areas where the risk is severe and then put checks in place to help them maintain a certain level of excellence. These checks are called quality standards. Good standards, properly implemented and followed, provide a safety buffer. Mistakes are caught quickly, and companies have time to correct problems before they go over the cliffs. Personal standards can do for us what quality standards do for industry. They provide a series of checks to help us maintain a level of personal excellence. Now, we're human, we're going to make mistakes, but good personal standards, properly implemented and followed, provide a safety buffer. When the mistakes happen, we have time to correct problems before we go over the cliffs. Now, personal standards do another thing. The story is told of a young engineer who was taking his train across the Rocky Mountains. The trail was steep, and to their right was a massive cliff. The engine rounded a bend, and the engineer was met with a horrifying sight. Just ahead, a large pile of tangled trees had fallen across the track. Without a moment's hesitation, the engineer threw the throttle forward. The train picked up speed, and it burst through the barrier. Now, there was a large impact, and the engine sustained some damage, but the train stayed on the track. When later asked how he knew what to do so quickly, the engineer replied, "When I took the job, I spent a great deal of time thinking about all the things that could go wrong. I considered possible solutions and determined what my best course of action would be in each situation. When I saw the trees on the track, I didn't have to think. I had already made that decision. All that was left was to act. Decisions, or rather standards, used as a basis for judgment like this have a polarizing effect on our decisions. You either choose to follow the standard or not. The engineer had decided ahead of time what to do in each emergency situation. In effect, he created a set of personal standards. When the emergency occurred, he simply followed his standard to a safe result. Can we not do the same? Our personal standards can allow us to make our decisions ahead of time. They polarize situations. We either choose to follow our standard or not. And since we have predetermined what the best choice is that keeps us away from the cliff, the right choice becomes clear. Now, the big question: how do we know what standards to choose? Well, in the past, standards were often adopted from one's religion. But, for better or worse, society's changing and religious standards are falling out of favor. There is a void in their passing. Many people are unsure what their own standards should be, let alone what to teach their children. As a result, young people learn their standards from things like popular trends and social media sites. Have you seen some of the things that people post on social media sites? The thought of my son doing what some of these people do while driving is part of what keeps me up at night. But the thought of him adopting the personal standards, or lack thereof, of these same people as his way to navigate life is much more terrifying. Too often, the winds of unwise popular trend opinions send people careening toward the cliffs. I cannot bear that happening to my kids. Personal standards are essential for their safety. So, how do we develop sound personal standards? We do what the quality assurance people do. We conduct a personal risk assessment. We look at the cliffs that surround us. They could be anything: too much debt, alcoholism, unwanted pregnancy, uncontrolled anger. The possibilities are endless, but it must be personal to us. For each cliff, we construct a standard with a set of checks to keep us back from the edge. Now, don't be afraid to adopt good standards from other people. Quality assurance people do this all the time. When you see a set of standards that work, adopt them. Once your standard is in place, determine what could go wrong and make your decisions ahead of time. In this way, when those things occur, you won't have to wonder what to do. You'll have already made the right decision for you. All that's left is to act. My plea to you is simple. Become a quality assurance manager. Determine what level of excellence you want to obtain for your life. Then create a set of standards to keep you back from the cliffs on your road. Use those standards to make your decisions ahead of time. And then teach your children to do the same. Can any of us afford not to? We can become the people that we want to become. We can traverse the dangerous road of life, and personal standards will help us to navigate that road safely. Thank you.